from his studios in New York, it's time for Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. Here's your host, Dan Tortora.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcall.dt. The man is on the show, Ross Turetsky, tremendous person. You talk about Marvin Graves calling me a brother from another mother in the first hour of the show. This is also a brother from another mother for me, Ross Turetsky. Consider him a brother. Have felt that way since 2008. He is a tremendous human being. He's a tremendous husband, tremendous father, tremendous sports writer in Northeast PA with the Times Leader, and just an overall great sports mind, entertainment mind. He's one of those people in this world that you could start a conversation about anything. You could talk about, I'm just trying to pick random. You could talk about pumpkin spice with him. You could talk about, Mickey Mouse's dreams and aspirations. You can talk about Drew Bledsoe and Tom Brady, and you could bring up anything with this man, and he can have a conversation with you, and it would always have merit. And 99.9% of the time, it's going to lead to some comedy, and probably 100% of the time, it leads to comedy. So I appreciate him. He is the father of my niche, of my niece Lorelai, and he is married to a tremendous woman with Abby. So before we say anything here, where sports meets life on Wake Up Call, Ross, may I say happy 2019 officially on the air with you, and may I say hello not only to you but to Abby and Lorelai as well.
Hello back to you, buddy. It's great to be on, and two of my favorite songs, Adele, Hello, and then, of course, the great Lionel Richie, Hello, is it me you're looking for? I can see in your eyes. And I don't know the rest of the words, but I like it anyway. And I can't stand Tom Brady. He's going to win another Super Bowl. Oh, my God. So, yeah, it's great to be on the air with you. Yeah, it's first time on the air with you in 2019. And you're a great buddy, and now 11 years and counting. We've known each other since 2008, and I knew you even before that. I was quiet sleeping in an early morning film class with my older brother and another baseball player, because we had 5:30 in the morning baseball practices at Marywood University in good old Scranton, PA, the Electric City. And you were engaged in black and white old movies, like the original Mummy from the 1930s. I was passed out sleeping watching the movie later in the day because I was exhausted. But I knew you then, but then it was nice to really get to know you in May of 2008, and 11 years have gone by, and been one of the most valuable and really fulfilling relationships that I've ever had, and continue to have. So I appreciate every chance we get to hang out and talk and shoot the breeze, buddy, and it means a lot to me.
Yeah, it means a lot to me as well. And we met through tragedy. So that's kind of. We had known each other, but we met through a mutual friend passing away, who just so happened to be in a car accident, in a situation where she was the only one who passed away in the car accident that involved her entire family. And obviously it's good that nobody else had perished in that car accident, but just very sad, and just makes you sit back. And I remember that phone call. From Mark. It gets my hand shaky, but I remember that day, and I remember not believing it. And Sarah, I believe in heaven. I believe in a God. So, Sarah, I know you can hear us, and I want you to know I love you and that you mean the world to me. And one of the last conversations that her and I had were that I needed to be a better friend, and I wanted to be there for her more. And so, hopefully I'll get the chance to do that in heaven. And I apologize that I wasn't the best of friends when she was here on earth, but I love her and I appreciate her. And I know that Mark is all the better because he knew Sarah, and God, she was a wonderful person. She was just a sweetheart. So, we actually met at her memorial mass, and you and I sat across from each other, and I remember, because they had sandwiches there, like you make your deli meat sandwich, and I remember sitting across from you, and I remember putting the mustard on my sandwich and having trouble getting it's the things you remember. I couldn't get the mustard out of the package, and I could barely get it on the sandwich, and I got like a little stripe of it on the sandwich, and I pretended that I was happy with it, and then I started eating it, we were just sitting across from each other, and it was kind of like, hey, I know you, and yeah, I know you too, and don't we have this class together? And we started talking, and then I said, oh, maybe we can hang out sometime, and then you led me through one of the toughest moments of my life, and were the friend more than any friend that was there during one of the most difficult moments in my life personally, and now 11 years later, here we are. So, I mean, you are a tremendous individual, and I got nothing but thanks for you for that.
Well, I do too, and I remember it was an awkward situation because when we were hanging out for the first time, really getting to know each other. It was an awkward situation because you're in surrounded by tragedy, and you're not like sure if you should be able to crack jokes to one another, talk about sports and statistics and stuff that really, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't mean a lot. And you're like, should I be enjoying myself in a moment like this because something really horrible's happened? So I felt weird about that, but it flowed very easily, the conversation, and then we've hung out and became good buddies, and I'm very thankful for that. But yeah, I do remember that. I remember being like, should I be laughing or smiling in a situation like this? But it was nice to have some levity in such a solemn, sad day, and it was nice to have a good moment to remember on that day.
No, absolutely, and I think that's what Sarah would have wanted if she could create friends, through tragedy. I know that would be something that she wanted. So I have nothing but I really do. I have nothing but the utmost respect, and I appreciate I appreciate everything, and I appreciate the fact that I blame Sarah. I think Sarah did it that day. And I will always be thankful to Sarah for being a friend to me and giving me another friend in a moment of tragedy. If anybody knew Sarah, then you would know that if she could bring anyone together on even the day that she was being honored and being memorialized, that's all she would ever wanted, was that everybody paired up and left that room with a new friend, because that's who she was. She was selfless, and so I appreciate it. So I blame Sarah, Ross. I think we should.
Well, it's been over a decade now, so it was a nice situation that turned into it was from sadness to happiness, and a nice friendship unfolded. So hopefully many more decades to come of friendship. So she was a great person, and thankful that in such a weird situation we got to finally have a conversation where you were not awake and I was passed out sleeping in the back of a classroom. Yeah. We actually got to talk and be able to relate to certain issues and situations. So it was funny. So that was a nice moment. I remember that to this day, and I've had every time we've gone a little while without talking, and I'm like, there's so many things I want to talk about. I send you all these like Facebook attachments, and I'm like, I don't even know what he thinks about them. But there's the new Ghostbusters movie. There was Syracuse beating Duke, number one ranked team in the country last week. Yeah. There was the insane overtime conference championship games last night with the blown call with the Rams beating the Saints with the no pass interference, and then Brady being and the Patriots winning again over the Chiefs. There was all these like cool things in sports, football, basketball, and all these insane things. And I'm like, I want to talk to him about it, and then it's just always a great chance when we get to chat it up. And then I always hope that our friends Mr. Trump and President Trump and Kim Jong-un can join us, and all our good friends, and Schwarzenegger. We love when they make guest appearances on the show, and it makes my day. So in these turbulent times, there's a government shutdown, there are people hurting. I like the distraction. I'm just being able to shoot the breeze and talk sports and movies and entertainment and life just with a good friend. It really means a lot. Yeah,
well, that is mutual. That feeling is there, and I appreciate it. Speaking here with Ross Turetsky, writes for the Times Leader, is in Northeast Pennsylvania, and has a knowledge of sports all over the country and even outside of the country. Like I said, I could talk to him about curling, which to most people, curling is when you lift weights, heavy weights, but curling is actually when you take a broom and you brush the ice after pushing a weight down the ice, which to me makes absolutely positively no sense, but looks like a ton of fun, and I feel like I could be professional at it.
It looks awesome, but it looks like they're just sweeping very fast and very vigorously, like they've had a bad day, so they're taking it out on the broom. And the United States shocked Canada, who owns the sport, and beat them for the gold medal for the first time ever in last year's Olympics. So the USA is the defending champions. And I think I saw a thing where there are a bunch of old football players, guys who recently retired, like Jared Allen and Mark Bolger, the former Rams quarterback after Kurt Warner. They're trying to form a team so they could maybe qualify for next Olympics for curling. So it seems like even if you're a former has-been athlete, or if you're a guy who drinks beer and maybe doesn't do any sport, I'm not trying to knock the sport, but it almost seems like anyone can try to do it. And hey, who knows if they're going to be good or bad at it? I don't know. Is it a sport? Is it a skill? I'm not sure. It's kind of like bowling in a way. I'm impressed with someone who's good at it. I don't know how athletically gifted you have to be to do it, but it's still pretty cool to see. But it would be a cool sport to try out. I don't know. I think I'm trying to think of what sport could I be an Olympic athlete for. And I think that's the only one I could do. But I think if I'm going to do this, I need you to join the team, and then need to find one or two other people who can just show up, and we'll give them food and drinks and some cool times and see if we could actually do this. Because, hey, I think we could become Olympic athletes. I don't know. This is, I think, our only chance, because I don't see myself slam dunking a basketball or hitting a home run or scoring a game-winning goal in hockey. I don't see that happening, but maybe we could qualify for Olympic curling.
Yeah, I think we could, and I think it's also a scene that was cut out of Mary Poppins with Dick Van Dyke. So, but the reality of it all is, yeah, why not? Curling or the bobsled. But if I did the bobsled, I want people to understand, yes, it's because of Cool Runnings, and yes, it's because it's one of my favorite movies of all time. I want to be on the Jamaica bobsled team because, in my opinion, why not? Why can't I do it? I would love to do it, and I would want Dougie Doug to be a part of it with me, and we would have to sing the same songs. And you know what? I would even have, I think, I would comprise my team of just a little bit of crazy. So it would be you and I, Dennis Rodman, and Kanye West. That's what I want. Kanye, Dennis, and the both of us.
We've got stuff. You got some mentally unstable people there. You got, and hey, I might be one of them. Who knows? And then you got Kanye and Dennis Rodman. I don't know how sound of mind they are as well. But you have all these cool guys and characters. And hey, that's where I went for my honeymoon. The only time I ever left the country was for my honeymoon, which was in Jamaica. And I took a picture with my new wife in front of the bobsled from, I guess, the real Cool Runnings Jamaican bobsled team from the 1988 Olympics. So maybe it's Kismet and destiny.
Yeah, I think it is destiny, and if anybody heard that little gong here in the studio, I think that I think a gong always sounds when something is inevitable. So, that time is now, and I think that it can happen. And, Kanye needs to get back on the horse again because he's with a Kardashian, which inevitably means that his career may be over. And Dennis Rodman, how can you get any lower than marrying yourself, which I might do at some point in my history. So, I think the reality of it all is, we would be a tremendous team, and I think the two sane people on the team, Rodman and Kanye, would accept us.
I would say the two same people are Rodman, who talks to Kim Jong-un and is a peacekeeper for North Korea and the United States between Trump and Kim Jong-un. He might be future president of the United States one day, so Rodman and I'd say you are the two sane people. And I'd say Kanye and me are a little bit off kilter. I think there's a few apples missing off that tree.
Yeah, well, there's some fun people out there that would say that, some people would say we're all sane, some people would say we're all crazy, but that's okay. If Rodman and Kanye are willing to roll with us in that, then I'm ready to feel the rhythm, feel the ride, get on up, it's bobsled time, because it's time. If I'm going to be in the Olympics, I want to have fun. I either want to push a weight down and show everybody that I can skate, or I want to bobsled. And
ping pong. We could be like Forrest Gump. Ping pong could be a sport I could do. I just thought of another sport because I can't really do many physically gifted sports, but ping pong is a possibility.
I can bowl. Is bowling involved? I can bowl.
I think bowling could be Olympic. I think it might be. I have to look that one up. I think it actually is somehow. And I know golf is one, but I've never golfed besides miniature golf. I probably would do like Happy Gilmore, and I would ride it like a pony if I got a shot, and it would be kind of innuendo in nature, sexual innuendo in nature, so they probably would not like that at the Olympics. But that is an Olympic sport, so I could probably ride my golf club like a pony if that was okay. But I don't know. I think we have limited choices, so bobsled would be one. You put this as a poll maybe, as a sport that that we should do, or maybe what the audience would like to do, or what they think they could do best. Because let's be honest, we're not going to all be basketball stars slam dunking the ball. I can't dunk a ball. I'm not gifted that way. But what sport could the average person think your best chance of qualifying for the Olympics? I think that could be a poll question. I think, would it be curling? Would it be bowling? Golf? Bobsled? Who knows? I think that'd be a fun question to ask the audience.
Yeah, so they're adding to the 2020 games in Tokyo karate, skateboarding, sports climbing, whatever that means, surfing, and baseball/softball. So,
I could do karate for sure. I think I could make the noises like Bruce Lee and go, wah! And I would do the crane kick like Daniel LaRusso, wax on, wax off. I wouldn't be great at karate, but I think I would at least have fun doing karate. And I think I probably would break my leg in the process. I think my leg would crack on impact, me trying to jump in midair and kick in, but I would have fun. I would make the sound effects. So karate would be a fun one for me to try.
There's surfing, obstacle racing, bowling, and ultimate frisbee that are trying to get in 2024. We could do ultimate frisbee. I mean, I could play basketball. I mean, I know I could play basketball. I would like to think I could throw a football. And you obviously had success playing collegiate baseball. But the reality of it all is, if I'm going to the Olympics, I want to play a sport that I can have fun and not fully understand how we got an invitation. So I think ultimate frisbee would be. I mean, it's not even can jam. I mean, I don't even have to get it in the can. I just have to, ultimate frizz. So I think ultimate.
It's a fun sport. I remember in college there'd be people like playing in hacky sack in the quad. They would be doing ultimate frisbee. I was like, what the heck is this? It's kind of like a hipster sport, but hey, hipsters are very popular now. They're all the rage.
I think ultimate frisbee is when you make like the game. I think ultimate frisbee is at least how it felt at Marywood is that they just throw a frisbee around and then they're like, all right, do a flip and catch it. All right, now run really far and catch it. All right, now hit yourself in the face with it. Okay, now put a sandwich on it and throw it to me. I feel like the rules change all the time. I don't know if ultimate frisbee has a signature set of rules or if it's just, let's throw the frisbee around and maybe just be on LSD for a little while. I don't know, maybe.
I think you'd have to get like the Seth Rogen Pineapple Express team to go, because I think most of the people, and nothing against them, most people that would try to play ultimate frisbee and try to get me to join their games, I think they were stoned out of their mind in college doing it. So I think most of the time they probably don't even remember that they were playing the sport.
Yeah.
And they're like, wow, that's amazing. And they were playing an Olympic sport, and they didn't even realize it.
That would make sense since they had, shorts and flip-flops on when it was snowing outside. It makes a lot of sense.
Yes, I remember that. It'd be 2 degrees out, and there was these two brothers called the Shorts brothers. They were like 50 years old going to college, and it could be 20 below zero, and they'd wear shorts. And I'm like, what is the matter with you? And they're like, it's a nice sunny day out here. I'm like, you're insane. Your legs are purple.
There's no sun in Scranton. People know that.
No, days a year out of the whole year, 365 days, 10 days of sun.
You're being nice because I say 6. I say 6 out of 365. So Ross Turetsky here with me this morning. We got some stuff to talk about. Syracuse basketball, men's and women's, as well as Syracuse football and the NFL. Let's talk Syracuse women's basketball. They lost in their game yesterday on the road at Georgia Tech, but going into that game, 4-0 in the ACC, ranked in the top 15, 15 wins this season, 15-3 overall. They beat 2 ranked teams this season. They lost to ranked Minnesota by 4. They lost on the road. They lost to ranked Oregon, who is in the top 3, by 2. So their losses are not that bad. They were on a 9-game winning streak before losing the game yesterday. I mean, this is a team that is bound for another NCAA tournament bid, you would like to hope and think, and a team that's looking at good seeding in the ACC tournament. We don't talk about women's basketball enough as a country, so let's discuss it a little bit here. I got Coach Q coming out with me at the PressRoom Pub on 220 Harold Place in Syracuse, New York, downtown this Tuesday, January 22nd from 6 to 7, so come hang out with us. If you're not going to be in town, you can watch us on live video on Facebook Live. But, Ross, what are your thoughts? Because Syracuse women's basketball, 9-1 in their last 10 games, 15-3 overall, not having bad losses and looking pretty amazing. And they've won all their games on neutral court. The St. Pete shootout, they won in the Cancun Challenge, and they also had another game in the New York area by New York City. So they're 6-0 on neutral court, which is what you need for the ACC or for the NCAA tournament. So what are your overall thoughts on the women?
They're a legit squad. As you were saying, they're very, I'd say, underappreciated and flying under the radar because everyone nationally and even probably local in the Syracuse bubble probably think of Jim Boeheim, Syracuse Orange basketball, Carmelo Anthony, Jerry McNamara win the national championship, Final Four appearances, all the great history, all the amazing NCAA tournament runs, and they don't really get the press, especially nationally, they don't, of the men's squad. But the women's squad has been very consistent, very good for quite a while now. A top-ranked team. They made it to the Final Four, what was it, just a couple of years ago, made a big-time run, almost won the national title, and I thought even that kind of flew under the radar. It's like, Syracuse is going to possibly win a championship, and, no one really seemed to realize that it's the women's squad, not the men's squad. The women's squad, they're fundamentally sound, they're fun to watch. That coach is a heck of a coach. He really seems to be a great inspirational leader. They follow his lead. I think he kind of looks a little like Mike Tirico, who I think went to Syracuse as a big-time broadcaster now for NBC, formerly Monday Night Football with ESPN, and he just seems like a great coach to play for. He seems like he'd be a great player coach, and then he could he'll comfort you and try to lift you up when you're feeling down, but he also could probably light a fire under you and really kick it up a gear when he needs to if the squad is not falling into place. But I've really been impressed. I've been following them. I watched a few games during the year of the women's squad. I watched basically all the men's games, but the women's squad is highly underappreciated, and I think people locally and nationally, but especially locally, where you can make a difference and you can show up to these games at the Carrier Dome and sell out the place, go to the games, and cheer on this squad, because I think they're a heck of a team, and I'm glad that you're giving them some press now, and you're having a one-on-one sit-down with the coach each and every week, and, I think he's a great coach to play for, and I see great things, and I think, hopefully one day, maybe the men's squad will always be kind of the team everyone focuses on in Syracuse and around the country, but I'm hoping the women's squad gets recognized as one of those top women basketball teams in the country, kind of go along with Connecticut and Tennessee and Baylor and all those big-time women's basketball schools, that Syracuse gets to be up there as well, because they're a heck of a team. They're a top-ranked team. They're going to go to the tournament, and, hey, they might make another run to try to win it all this year.
That coming from Ross Turetsky here inside of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We're going to take a quick step aside here for a fast break. Before we do that, Martin Luther King Jr.'s words: darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. We'll be back in just a moment.
This is a wake-up call fast break.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or ice milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Clothing that will change with you without you having to change. DreisigLady.com, DREISSIG Lady.com. With the Bamboo line Relaxed Fit clothing as well as the Athletic Fit clothing, DreisigLady.com is fit for any woman, any time of the day, anywhere. Whatever you're doing, whatever your day commands of you, command yourself to feel comfortable in Dreissig Lady Apparel. DREISSIG Lady.com. For all the women out there, feel good in what you're wearing and don't feel like you have to constantly change throughout the day. Whether you're a stay-at-home mom, a business owner, going for a jog, going for a meeting, or just relaxing at home, DreisigLady.com is the right fit for you. DREISSIG Lady.com.
Breaking news. The PressRoom Pub, located on 220 Herald Place in historic Herald Square in downtown Syracuse, is where entertainment and sports become one. Trivia is every Tuesday at 7 p.m. with host Dan Tortora. Sports are always on from every angle at the PressRoom Pub. The main floor features a full bar and restaurant with 2 private party rooms featuring games, a colossal television, and more. So head out for lunch, dinner, or a drink and plan your parties with the PressRoom Pub, 220 Herald Place in downtown Syracuse. Call 315-569-4345 for more information. The Press Room awaits you.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. What is up, my good people? Happy Martin Luther King Day. Happy day to remember to be this way every day, which is like Valentine's Day. You know, whenever, oh my God, I got to buy candy, I got to buy flowers, oh man, I got to tell my wife that I love her, I got to tell my husband, tonight's going to be the night that, that we hold hands, we go out to dinner. No, you do that every single day. Okay? You do that every single day. I'm going to paraphrase what Chris Rock said because I can't say it on my family show, but I'm going to paraphrase what Chris Rock said in a relationship. You should always be close, intimate, and go places. Be good to each other, hold hands, be romantically involved, and go places with each other. That's what you should do. Don't wait until you're retired to enjoy your life. That's stupid. Don't wait and, don't be the person that doesn't show love every single day. And we're giving words from Martin Luther King all throughout the show. So I do want to put this one here. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. Dan, why do you have a sports show where you talk about God? Dan, why do you have a sports show where you talk about life and you talk about leadership and you talk about family and you talk about personal stuff and you let people see what it is? Why do you talk about bullying? Why are you transparent? Why do you do that? Because our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. Ross, expand on this a little bit. What are your thoughts on that quote by Martin Luther King?
Well, but being silent when you see injustice, I think that's the ultimate right there. Because if you are able to say something, or especially if you have the platform, where you have a show like you, or you have any importance position, and you have a chance to make someone's life better, and you're seeing someone being pushed down and being racially profiled, religious injustice, if you see any of that stuff, people bullying people and all that, and like as you said, oh, why are you talking about it? They're all interconnected, these issues. It's life. Sports is a nice little segment of life, but it's basically a nice distraction from our everyday lives, because our everyday lives can be very cold, and can be very brutal and sad, and it's a nice little happy moment. So even when people are going berserk and saying, we got robbed in New Orleans because of the game last night, in the grand scheme of things, it's a fun distraction. We had a fun 3.5 hours, even though if you're a big fan of that team, or you're a gambler and someone might come to break your legs, you're in tears. But when you deal with the harshness of life, it's just a nice playful distraction. And it really, because of people like soldiers and everyone who before us has fought for your right to have that freedom, you have the ability to pick out on nachos and beer for 3 hours, enjoy a fun football game. And with injustice, Martin Luther King kind of also has the same sentiment as Gandhi did. I love the idea of peaceful protest, that they're beating on you, they're being nasty, they're being horrible to you. And as Michelle Obama was saying in the same kind of sentiment, when they go low, we go higher. We don't stoop to their level. And I think sometimes people are trying to get really nasty in politics, in almost all realms of life. People get very nasty, and if someone says something or does something bad to them, they try to just hit them right back with a retaliation shot to go even lower and really hit them where it hurts. And I even feel that way with like the government shutdown. Right now, I think both sides are acting like babies. They're like infants who need to go to either side, take a time out and say, get over yourselves. There are people hurting. You need to help them, and let's compromise. I know you guys think you're so different. I like to say, I do a crazy sports show every week on Facebook. I like to say we're closer to one another than we are different. And we got to embrace those differences. There are differences. You got to embrace them. But let's not be mean and horrible, despicable people to one another, because in the end, we're very much more alike than we are different. And we're all, in the end, sadly, we're all going to end up in the same place. But while we're there, wouldn't you want to make it the best experience for everyone possible? And so someone's hurting, someone's starving, someone needs, the sandwich or the shirt off your back, and if you could provide for them, and you have the assets, and you have some extra money, or you have the ability to volunteer and help someone out, like a Big Brother, Big Sister program, in the spirit of Martin Luther King Day, on this day and any other day, and this is considered a day of service. I remember when President Obama was in office, he made this a day of service. Other presidents before him have done it as well. You go out in your community and you help them and make it a better place than where you found it. Make it a better place when you leave it. Make it a better community for everyone involved, whether they're rich, poor, indifferent, no matter what race, no matter what religion you're a part of. And I know some people say, these are good cliches. They're more than cliches. You got to make this part of your everyday life, because it can be so cruel, this life. And I've experienced some horrible things in my life. Other people have experienced even worse things in their lives. So in the end, you don't know where that person's coming from when they're being mean to you or you're being nasty to them. So why can't we just be nice to each other and let's actually come together? And as Dr. King's speech said, no matter what race, religion, or creed you are, he wanted his children to be able to play with the other children in the neighborhood, no matter what race they were, and if they can come together and no one would care about it. They would be able to be friends, hold hands, play, and they could just be one people. And that's what it should be. And I think we're making progress, but I feel like every time we're making progress, we're getting pushed down a little bit by people who are trying to push it back down to a negative level. And we got to just keep fighting, pushing back and push forward, and let's just stay together, because I want that ability where, President Obama became the first African-American president. I want one day where, there's the first female president, when there's the first openly gay president, that it's not even an issue. It's not even a story, because they're just the president. They're just that great person. Jackie Robinson was the first person to break the color barrier in Major League Baseball. You want it to be that when that person does that first, that it becomes so commonplace, because we're all connected. We're all together in that melting pot, that they're just the most qualified person for the job. And it shouldn't matter what they are and what they believe in. And let's just believe in peoplehood, and let's be together. And that's what I think his message is, and it still resonates today over 50 years later after he made that speech.
Yeah, we're looking at the fact that, and you brought up, the government and the shutdown. People already think the government doesn't work for you. Now, hundreds of thousands of Americans may not be working at all in this time. And just so you know, it affects the Department of the Treasury, who handles money. It affects the Department of Agriculture. It affects the Department of the Interior, the Department of State, the Department of Housing and Urban Development, living, the Department of Transportation, because we have to move from place to place, the Department of Commerce, the Department of Justice, and I saved this one for last, the Homeland Security Department. So it makes you feel safe all around. Your money, your overall safety, your health and well-being, your housing, not important stuff to this country by any stretch of the imagination.
Buddy, you fly to a lot of different sports conference. You do your interviews and everything. Go to ACC conference calls, and we're about to go to a trip for Seattle for a family wedding. I don't know what to expect, because I've been hearing all these stories about TSA workers. They're either calling out sick because they need to find other work that will pay them, or they're being forced to work and they're not getting paid. And a lot of times they don't always have the greatest attitude to begin with. They might be in a bad mood. How would you feel if you then have to be forced to go to work without getting paid, and you have all these bills that are piling up, and people are going to be nasty to one another, and in that hostile kind of situation, environment, I can understand people getting really, just losing their minds at that situation. I can't fathom being forced to work without getting paid, and then the bills are piling up, and you're losing kind of your sense of purpose. Like, I go to work, but I also need a check to keep my family afloat and our way of life. So it's just such a tough thing. So in these times, especially when everyone is being so negative and so divisive, we need to stay together. I think the last time we were on the air together, we talked about the Pittsburgh synagogue tragedy. Yeah. And unfortunately, there seems to be another tragedy that keeps building every time. It always seems to be a new school shooting or a new shooting at this place. Or if they're not a shooting, it's just people being bad to each other. Because there was even the situation, I don't know if you saw it this weekend, where the Native Americans were having, because they had a women's march, they had a Native Americans march, and they had these very nasty white teenage kids at I think a Catholic school who were mocking them, making jokes and making fun of these Native American people, and just the looks on their faces, the smiles of glee when they were being mean to these people and being horrible people, and not treating them as their equals, I thought was just despicable. So things like that, especially on a day like this when you're supposed to remember all the great things that Dr. King stood for, you can't just rest when you see injustice like that and feel like, oh, this is a good thing. We're making progress, but we're still not there yet, and we not have totally fulfilled his dream yet. And I think we got to keep fighting to fulfill that dream, because when I see things like that, when people are just being cruel to each other, and when I saw those high school kids putting down these elderly men who were marching in their rally and being just really nasty people. I was like, what are you doing? Like, this gives you joy to take someone down and make them feel awful? I'm like, I can't believe that they were raised that way, or they think that that's okay. And that just bothered the heck out of me when I saw the smile on these kids' faces when they were being mean and being very cruel to these other people.
Yeah, and it makes no sense that we live in a world where hate is so readily available, but love is not. And the funny thing about it is, and not that love is not, but put it to you like this: this world was, when we created social media, when all these geniuses created social media and the algorithms and the this and that, whatever, to connect us all anywhere in the world, in every nook and cranny that has the internet, I thought it was meant to bring us together, not to bring us apart, but to bring us together. And people use this to spread hate faster, to make it something that, I thought that love was supposed to be spread. I thought it was supposed to bring us together, give us more of a sense of community, less than 6 degrees of separation, all of this good stuff. And, people use it for negative means and negative acts. For goodness sakes, do I use Snapchat? Yes. But what is Snapchat? Snapchat is a place where you can, now I talk to people on there that I would like to think, I would like to speak with and that, matter. But, Snapchat is also a place where I know people have gone, and unfortunately that hit my home. It hit a lot of homes. But so people go to Snapchat because it's where everything disappears. You can write something, say something, send something, video, picture, whatever, and it's there and it goes away. If you don't screenshot it, it disappears like it never even happened. So, social media is supposed to bring people together. It's not supposed to be divisive. And I think, when people talk about what can you do right here, right now, in this moment, you could go on social media and only say positive things. You can have an opinion, have a constructive opinion about something that you don't agree with. I'm not saying you have to agree with everything. I'm saying that when you go out into this world, spread positivity. Learn how to say something in a positive way. Wow, I didn't really like this movie, but I appreciate the fact that I got to see it with my grandmother. Or, I really didn't like that song, but, here are the reasons why I didn't like it, because I think it spreads, an anti-female movement, or, it sends a wrong message to our children. To put out hate speech is something that is unnecessary. You can disagree with damn near anything in the world and do it respectfully. For goodness sakes, I write articles all the time about Syracuse sports, and I can be critical of something that's going on. I can question something that's going on, but these guys at the end of the game, shake my hand and give me a hug, because they know at the end of the day it's not a personal attack. I don't wish ill on them. It's just stating an obvious fact. They missed 12 free throws. They lost by 6. They got to shoot their free throws better. They can't be missing wide open shots. Is it a mental thing? I'm not asking a question that they're not asking themselves. There's a way to talk to each other in this world where you don't agree with each other, but you don't have to be a jerk about it. And spreading hate is a very lethal, very direct shock value thing that is unnecessary in this world. We're supposed to be coming together through social media. So if you want to know on Martin Luther King Jr. Day and on any day, how can we make the world a better place? On social media, post positive messages, post inspirational quotes. If you disagree with someone, be respectful in the argument. Be respectful in the discussion. Make it a discussion as opposed to an argument. Don't swear. Don't call people names. Don't disrespect and put people down. We've all made our mistakes, and you have to get better from that. I don't believe that screaming and yelling does anything. I don't think silence does anything. I don't think that any type of hate, whether the ignoring of another person, that's not positive, or the hate that you spread through negative words and negative actions is not positive as well. You can disagree with whoever you want to disagree with. Just treat that person as you would want yourself to be treated. Treat that person as if they are the love of your life and handle it that way. Be kind. I'm not saying use kid gloves. I'm saying be kind. I'm saying listen. I'm saying we have overcomplicated this world to the point where we don't even understand what the hell we're mad about anymore. Don't hate, spread love. Don't ever attack somebody, who they are, what they look like, what they're about. Somebody's a rapist out there, pray for them. Say that you don't want them around your children. Say that it's something that we need to take out of our society. seek to understand what's happening, why it's happening, why did this person turn that corner. But you don't have to go out there and say, I'm going to kill them because they did this and I'm going to murder this. We don't have to spread hate any more than it's already spread. We need to spread love. You don't stop a wildfire by putting more fire on it. You stop a wildfire by dropping the necessary equipment and services that are going to contain that wildfire. Fire does not stop fire. And I think that it's easy to say, but I challenge everybody on Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, message boards, my website, everybody's website, so on and so forth, to be a kind-hearted individual. And if you respectfully disagree with someone, do it respectfully. That's the key word. And then move forward with your day. Stop trying to hurt people, especially strangers who have no idea why you're attacking them.
And I would like to add this, buddy. Let's stop with the stupid, silly threats, because like when you saw like Cody Parker, the kicker of the Bears, who missed that double doink field goal, even though it was technically blocked by the Eagle guy, but at first it was considered. They had the jokes making fun of like the bird box challenges, but they put the blindfold meme on him, like he didn't see where he was kicking the ball. And they've done the same things with the referees, when they make the horrible calls throughout the playoffs and stuff. But when people when the Bears kicker misses that field goal to win them the game, their season ends when by losing the Eagles on that missed field goal in the first round of the playoffs at home in Chicago. And then the next thing you see is he's getting death threats. He's getting horrible comments from people around there who are anonymous, but don't have to really put their name behind it. They could just put like a weird hashtag and a weird Twitter handle. And, you don't know how it is, because then did you see that they had the funny this beer company in Chicago had a thing where if you could kick a 43-yard kick in native Chicago, they give you free beer for a year. Not one person came close to kicking that field goal. And yes, he's a professional. He's expected to make that kick, even in a high-pressured playoff situation with a game on the line. But then for you to then go crazy and make it seem like it's that easy, and you don't know what his life is like, and to then rip him apart. You could rip him apart that you should have made that kick. I'm very upset. It stinks. My heart's been ripped out because this is my team. But then when you see these personal attacks in sports saying, oh, you should just, drop dead and this and that, you're insane. You're like, that's the other thing. The negativity of people making death threats to people because they missed the kick. They made a bad call as a referee, or even in the music or entertainment. Pete Davidson from Saturday Night Live, he's had some problems. He's even admitted that he's had problems and suicidal thoughts. And then people are like wishing him ill when he broke up with when Ariana Grande, the pop singer, broke up with him, and they're like, "Oh, you should go to hell," and all that. It's like, why are you wishing bad on these people? And then the death threats and people who are like trying to urge people to hurt themselves. You don't realize there are people out there who are dealing with a lot of issues mentally and physically. They're all interconnected, and they might actually think and might actually try to hurt themselves. So why would you then try to hurt them when you don't even know them, and they're a fellow human being, and then you might be pushing them over the edge by you making a horrible, thoughtless comment online. So, yeah, on a day like this, and on any day, I want you to go out in the community and volunteer, help out, be good to your children, be good to people around your community. Donate money when you can to like cancer research or anything like that. When there's at the grocery store, you can give an extra $1 for kids' cancer money, to raise money for that, to find a cure for cancer, things like that. Those are things you can practical things you can do out in your community. But then, even as you said, behind closed door online or on the internet, when people get really nasty and not have to put their name behind that, also be a good person as well. Don't be nice out there in the real world and then be disgusting out in the virtual world, because your thoughts and your comments could actually hurt someone. And bullying has caused a lot of kids to hurt themselves. And you got to be kind to one another, whether it be a kid or an adult, because for you, anything in life, for you then to personally attack, I like your point of view. You could attack how they played. So you played like garbage. You stink out there. You got to improve. Shoot your free throws better. That's okay. But then to attack them and say, go hurt yourself because you missed a big shot in a basketball game, it's idiotic. In the end, it doesn't mean that much, that basketball game, as much as it hurts the fan when your team loses. So let's be good to one another, and let's stop with the silly threats and the horrible comments that you might not think much about, and you think they're funny, and then in the end, someone can take them really seriously and might actually harm themselves. So that's another situation there. I think you got to be kind and be the person in the real world that you want to portray. Let's be that way behind closed doors in the virtual world, because if you in the real world would not say that to someone's face, let's not say it behind closed doors where you think you're high and mighty, because you don't have to see that person face to face and say that horrible thing where he might punch you in the face. Let's act the way you would do if you would say it to their face in person. that's how you should say it online too. You should not then have the beer muscles online and say all these nasty things just because you don't think anyone can see you or hear you.
Yeah, and that's the reality of it all is, be the kind person face to face and be the kind person behind closed doors as well, and just learn to respect one another. It's not that hard to do. Nobody wants to go online on Facebook after work and see all your smut and nasty negativity. Nobody wants to go look up a picture on Twitter and see all this hate and nasty, or go on Instagram and have posted a picture of their child and have people say, oh, that's an ugly baby. Oh, that's that. I mean, keep your opinion. I mean, go back to Bambi and what Thumper says. My mother always told me, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all. So some people interpret my silence as I hate you. They interpret my silence as I don't care about you. I don't want to make something work. I don't want to be your friend. I don't want to be in your life. The reality of it all is when there are mean things said, I'm silent. I want people to think about what they've said. I'm going to think about what I said. Silence sometimes is golden. Silence when you see something that's wrong is not okay. I'm not saying that. But the silence of letting things marinate, letting people see and hear themselves. Because if a person can say something or do something mean, and then in the silence hear it echo and bounce off the walls, and it doesn't drive them crazy that they've done something mean, then that's who they are. But when a person can sit in silence and go, wow, I'm hearing my words, I'm seeing my actions, I'm alone in my thoughts, I need to be a better person, those are the people you want to be around, because those are the people that grow. And I pray for both. I pray for those that don't grow. I pray for those that do. I hope that we all can grow. But silence is meant to show that. If you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. You take a step back, you gauge the situation, you think, and then you move forward. And it's not that hard to do. You just have to be able to do it, but you have to care about other people in order to do that. And that's the first step in everything, is to care and to love. We'll take a step aside here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Another message here from Martin Luther King Jr. I have decided to stick with love. Hate is too great a burden to bear. It's like cut from the same words of my grandmother. We'll take a fast break, and we'll come back. We'll talk about Syracuse men's basketball, a little bit about the football team, and we'll get into the NFL.
This is a wake-up call fast break.
Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Kampground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Kampground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or, of course, the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Kampground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9Campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9Campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
Consistency is, well, consistently hard to find, unless you head to 119 East 2nd Street in East Syracuse, New York, the home of the Pen and Trophy Center, who has been serving us Central and Upstate New Yorkers, as well as beyond, for decades. The Pen and Trophy Center on 119 East 2nd Street in East Syracuse, New York, gives you an amazing and unique way to customize a memory today. Say it with the Pen and Trophy Center. Be it an Employee of the Month award, a sports award, something for your business, engraving for your family, your loved ones, anniversaries, birthday parties, and so much more, including remembering somebody who served in the military. Say it with the Pen and Trophy Center, 119 East 2nd Street in East Syracuse, New York. The definition of consistency is pen and trophy. Browse their products on penandtrophy.com. That's penandtrophy.com, and call them for more information at 315-422-8797. That's 315-422-8797. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
Get Hilton quality service at the most affordable price at True by Hilton Camillus, located right next to Costco in Township 5. True by Hilton Camillus offers you their signature Top It breakfast bar with over 30 different toppings to personalize the most important meal of the day. All complimentary with your stay. For reservations and information, call 315-314-8676. That's 315-314-8676. True by Hilton Camillus. Hilton quality service at the most affordable price.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. Reading about Martin Luther King and Marywood University, where Ross Turetsky, who's on the line with us in this second hour of the show, Ross and I both proud alumni of Marywood University, proud Pacers, and they put up this quote, intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. Intelligence plus character. Intelligence, to know what you're talking about, study it, and character, to be a good person. So, know what you're talking about, be a good person. That is the goal of true education. To be a good person who is spreading knowledge, to be a person without an ego who is spreading knowledge, to be a person who cares about your fellow members of society while you're spreading knowledge and learning as well. I'll add to this, Martin Luther King Jr., you're never too old to learn, and those who stop learning stop growing. So, Martin Luther King Jr., tremendous human being, left us with quotes that we should use every single day. I don't care if you tape them to your forehead, whatever it takes for you to do them and live them and be in that world. Let's get there, folks, because we should have gotten there a long time ago. Kind of like the dawn of humanity a long time ago. We're here with Ross Turetsky, Syracuse men's basketball. Really quick here, Ross. They defeated Duke, number one team in the nation in the AP poll, 95-91 in an overtime game that was tremendous. They did it almost 3 years to the date of when they had done it only the other time in Cameron Indoor while they were members of the ACC, and that was on Monday, January 18th of 2016. They did this on Monday, January 14th, a week ago, 2019, both on Big Monday. And then they defeated Pittsburgh when they came back home. Syracuse is 13-5, 4-1 in the ACC. They now have a signature win over the top team in the nation. They also have wins over Georgetown and Ohio State, and they've won every single one of their true road games, which typically Syracuse struggles with. What do you think about the Orange men's basketball team?
I just been very impressed because they started off the year so inconsistently, and I know always the people like to kind of be negative with them because they win a lot of games early in the year where they don't leave the state of New York and they stay local and they beat up on some bad teams. Started off kind of poor this year, losing some games they should have won, and it was disappointing. But hey, to come in there and beat Duke in Duke with the Krzyzewski squad, with all those top picks who are going to be go one and done, going to be top NBA draft picks, including Zion Williamson, who just destroys the basketball hoop, and it looks like he's the next LeBron James out there, a man amongst boys out there on the basketball court in college, and is going to be a pro. And Duke has a chance to go all the way. They just knocked off undefeated ACC school Virginia, the Virginia Cavaliers, who I know they got upset last year, the first 16 seed to knock off a number one seed in the tournament last year. But Virginia was a heck of a team. Duke just beat them in a game over the weekend. So beating Duke and then coming back at home when they honored the football team for winning their bowl game and having a great 10-win season with Dino Babers and company, to then win that game against Pittsburgh, another ACC conference win. Syracuse is rolling a little bit. If they keep this up, I think they deserve to be ranked, even if it's 24-25 at the fringe of the top 25 AP poll. And I think they have a chance to get in the tournament, especially if they make a run and do something in the ACC tournament. I thought for a while it was looking very bleak, but they've really picked it up. I've been very impressed. And to go on the road and beat Duke when they could have won the regulation, and then they came into overtime where they could have given up, and instead they didn't. They showed a lot of perseverance and determination, and they came through with flying colors. They knocked off Duke on the road. Impressive win in such a crowded, hostile environment for a visiting team with a lot of young 18, 19, 20-year-old kids to go in and beat a talented Duke squad, and then to come back and not have any let-up, and then win against Pittsburgh, where they could easily let up over the weekend at home at the Carrier Dome. Very impressed with that. And the Jim Boeheim squad, they're starting to come into form now. The squad is playing better defense, better, more consistent shooting. It's not perfect yet, but the team overall is playing a lot more of a cohesive unit. And I just want to hopefully see this continue. I hope there's not a let-up and they can continue this for a while. You're not going to win every game, but keep winning conference games, keep putting up an impressive resume, and make it hard for them to not put you in on Selection Sunday. I think they have a good chance. They just got to keep it up, win some more key conference games, and the Doug Gottliebs and the negative national sports media might put them down and say, no, they deserve to get in the tournament. They seem to always be a bubble team. But, hey, you win over 20 games, and you win some clutch games, and Duke is going to be a big-time resume builder when you can say that at tournament time that you beat them on the road. I think they have a chance. So I think that Syracuse, I don't necessarily think they'll win a championship this year, but I think they can make a run and make the make the tournament, make March Madness. And if you win a couple games there, it's an impressive season, and you get to the Sweet 16 and have a solid squad. So Jim Boeheim, who seems to have been coaching there forever, now in his mid-70s, even as his son, Buddy Boeheim, on the team. And the team's really impressed me of late. And I'm glad that they've shown perseverance. When they were knocked down early in the year, I thought they would have given up. And this would have been a really let-down season, maybe even under 500 season, which is unheard of for Syracuse men's basketball. And I'm glad they've really picked it up of late. So I've been very impressed with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Syracuse's team will have a lot to talk about this week. I'll also have a lot to talk about with the ACC, some interesting little nuggets about the ACC men's basketball conference as a whole and what's going on right now. So we'll get into that as the week progresses here on Wake Up Call. Ross, really quick, and you mentioned Dino Babers, a third time in the Dome, an opportunity. He came in when he was first hired and said, faith, belief without evidence. I need you all to believe. I need you all to know it, to believe that it's there. Have faith in this team. Have belief without evidence in this Syracuse team. And, people did. And then he got to, in year number 3 for him at Syracuse, come to the Dome and tell everybody to go to the Camping World Bowl game, which I did down in Orlando. And then he came back in the Pittsburgh game and thanked everybody on behalf of the team and on behalf of the senior class. And 10-3 record for Syracuse, a double-digit winning season for the first time in a long time after 3 straight years of going 4-8. Feels very, very good. To stay with football, really quick here, Rams, Saints, Patriots, Chiefs. Both games going overtime, Ross, so I'm going to open the door for you on this one, just your overall analysis of both games. And, the leading thing with the Saints is the non-pass interference call. The leading thing with the Patriots is that this friggin' team just can never, ever say die. And I'm going to say what I said to Tarantino this thing and bring it all together. Marvin Graves and I were talking about the fact that the Patriots always have storylines going in to the season and throughout the season and in the playoffs that they're starting to fall apart. I think that they release their own storylines so that everybody believes them. But the Saints, what do you think about them falling in the no call? And then what do you think about the Patriots rushing attack and everything that they were able to do to get to yet another Super Bowl?
Yeah, I'm going to finish a couple of thoughts because then I'm going to have to leave to hang out with the family for the day, buddy. But yeah, quickly, I'll say with the Rams call, definitely should have been pass interference or even targeting with the helmet-to-helmet hit. They didn't get that call. They could have bleed the clock, New Orleans, and then kick a field goal and win the game, and it's over. The Rams' offense, dynamic offense, doesn't have a chance to get the ball and tie it up, but they didn't. They had to kick the field goal, and it stinks for the Saints. They did get robbed, even though it doesn't come down to just one play. That play was monumental, but also bad play call by passing the ball with an incomplete pass to Michael Thomas earlier in that drive, and then your defense wasn't good enough, just like the Chiefs' defense wasn't good enough to slow down Tom Brady, and the Patriots not good enough to stop the young Jared Goff and that young Rams offense. And then in overtime, Drew Brees throws that interception, that lame duck, a floater of a pass, and then the Rams, of course, win it on a 57-yard field goal. Let's remember, a 48-yard field goal that looked like he was going to miss. He made that to tie it up at the buzzer, and then the Rams kicker made almost a 60-yard kick, a 57-yard field goal to win the game, to go to the Super Bowl. So as much as that was a tough way to lose, and they kind of got robbed, you also have to give the Rams credit because the Rams were persevered. They got down the field, and their kicker made two heck of clutch kicks to win them that NFC Championship to go to the Super Bowl. And then with Brady, what can you say? They seem to not have that much talent each and every year. He wills them to win. They play the underdog role very well, kind of like the Eagles did last year. And he finds Julian Edelman as a slot receiver. Gronkowski was not the same tight end this year. He finds them when he needs them. Big-time plays. Some crappy, there was a rough and passer call where he barely swiped the Chiefs defender. And Brady, I feel like he sneezed at Brady. They call penalty on you, and I despise Brady and Belichick and the Patriots as a lifelong suffering Jets fan, but I respect the talent and how great they are all these years later. He'll be 42 years old in August. 8 straight AFC Championship games, and now, for the last 5 years, Super Bowl appearances, 3 Super Bowl appearances in a row, and he's trying to get his 6th Super Bowl title to tie the Steelers for most Super Bowls in franchise history in the NFL. So, very impressed with them, and they just, the Patriots shut the Chiefs down in the first half, 14-0. And then the second half, the Chiefs couldn't be stopped on offense. Pat Mahomes was amazing. Great young quarterback with a great future. But Andy Reid, again, loses a big game, hasn't won the big game, and Philadelphia won it without him once he left as their coach. And New England, when they needed it, the Chiefs' Achilles heel was that defense could not stop Brady and the Patriots' offense, and no one really expected to be as dynamic as they were. They blew out the Chargers. Offense couldn't be stopped against the Chiefs. And if I had to give my early pick, I would probably say, as much as me and the rest of the country besides Massachusetts is going to root for the Rams because can't stand the Patriots win another Super Bowl, I'm going to go with the GOAT, the greatest player of all time. As much as I hate to say it, I want to kind of upchuck and heave when I say it, but Brady and Belichick will find a way to slow down the Rams' top-notch offense and the great young prodigy. You got the young youngest coach, going to be 33 years old this Thursday, and Sean McVay. He's born the same year as me in '86, against the old genius in Bill Belichick and Brady. And I think the veteran leadership and the been there, done that experience will be enough to knock out the Rams. If I had to give an early pick in that game, I would go with 24-21 Patriots over the Rams to win Super Bowl 53 in Atlanta, Georgia. So those are my picks, and it was great being on the air with you, buddy. And hope to talk to you real soon. And keep doing what you're doing. You're great at what you're doing, and love you, buddy.
Love you too. That coming from Ross Turetsky, and I look forward to talking with you soon. Enjoy your Martin Luther King Day, and say hello to everybody. So that coming from Ross Turetsky. Once again, we appreciate him being on the broadcast with us this morning, and under promise, over deliver. Even on a holiday, we go past our 9 to 11 a.m. time slot here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage, airing live Monday through Friday from 9 to 11 a.m., and, of course, on mixlr.com/Wake Up Call DT. Plenty coming up this week in Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. The ingredients to success will be on tomorrow's broadcast, and every Tuesday at 10:50 a.m., proudly brought to you by Utica Pete's Company, and It's a Utica Thing. We'll also be featuring some other surprises in the show. We'll be talking about the NFL this week. We'll be giving the angles and the thoughts on the Rams' victory, as well as the Patriots, what the Chiefs should be proud of, and what the Saints should be happy with. And we will get into those nuggets, like I promised, of the ACC as we move forward here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We'll also talk about the national rankings as they will have come out by the time that we talk on tomorrow's broadcast. So plenty coming up and a lot of new hotkeys that are coming for you here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Hotkeys are those things that I will hit during the show to describe a part of the show. So a lot is coming up here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And, of course, like I said, we'll be continuing to talk about the NFL playoffs.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs?
Jim Mora, yes. We will be talking about playoffs all week long. We'll also be talking about so many things. We'll have Papa Joe's picks coming up this week, the annoying moment of the week, significant sound bites, Friday morning live, FML, a.k.a. we'll have the Fantasy Football Power Hour. So much going to be here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Come out and see us tonight. I know it's cold. I know it's snowy. I get it, but Chick-fil-A's food is so good, and supporting the community makes you feel so good inside, even better than having your tummy all full. So come out and get some good Chick-fil-A and support the community. I will be with the boys ice hockey team. How fitting on a day like today, as cold as it is. The boys ice hockey team will be joining me at Chick-fil-A Cicero. CNS North Stars boys ice hockey, 6 p.m. today, Monday, January 21st. Come and see us. Come hang out with us and have yourselves a tremendous day. And I leave you with these words from Martin Luther King Jr. Faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase. God bless. I'll talk to you soon.